Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we break down SEC filings so you don't have to. And as you can see from this preliminary proxy statement, this company is looking to quite literally expand its horizons. We're diving into OS Therapies Incorporated's latest update, and boy do they have a few big things planned for their shareholders. We're talking a major stock increase, changes to their incentive plans, and even a new shareholder rights agreement. It's a lot, so let's get right into it. First off, this is a preliminary proxy statement, meaning it's a draft. It's dated August 15, 2025, and it's for their 2025 annual meeting of stockholders happening sometime in 2025. It outlines what they want to discuss and vote on with their shareholders. One of the first critical things on the agenda is electing 6 directors. These folks are essentially the captains of the ship, guiding the company. They're asking shareholders to approve these nominees to serve until their next annual meeting in 2026. Knowing who sits on the board is key to understanding the company's direction. Then there's a really interesting one. They want approval to issue shares of their common stock to Iola Pharmaceuticals Inc. This is tied to an asset purchase deal. The catch here is that the number of shares could be 20% or more of their total stock out there as of April 2025. This is a big deal because issuing so many new shares can dilute the value of existing shares, essentially meaning each existing share represents a smaller piece of the company. Now, this is a massive change. They want to amend their foundational document, the Certificate of Incorporation, to dramatically increase the number of authorized shares of common stock. Currently, they can issue 50 million shares. They want to boost that to a huge 150 million shares. Think of it like a company's capacity to create new stock. This gives them a lot more room to maneuver for things like raising money, making acquisitions, or offering stock options without having to ask shareholders for approval every single time. Next up, they're looking to amend their incentive compensation plan. This plan is how they reward employees, especially executives, with stock. They want to increase the number of shares available for these awards from 4 million to 10 million. They also want to increase the limit on how much stock can be given to any single person as performance-based pay. This signals a bigger focus on using stock as a reward and to attract and keep talent. This next proposal is often called a poison pill, though they phrase it as a shareholder rights agreement. Basically, they want the board to have the power to put this agreement in place if they feel the company is under threat, perhaps from an unwanted takeover. If triggered, it makes it much more expensive for an unwelcome party to acquire a controlling stake. It's a defensive move by the board to protect the company and ensure any acquisition is done on terms they deem fair. They also need to ratify the appointment of their independent auditors, Malone Bailey LLT. This is a standard procedure to ensure the company's financial statements are reviewed by an external objective party. Think of them as the company's financial watchdog. Now, when it comes to the actual meeting, it's going to be held virtually again. This is pretty common now, letting people join from anywhere. They've set a record date of 2025, meaning if you own stock on that specific date, you get to vote. They also mention that if you hold your shares through a broker, you need to provide them with instructions on how to vote, especially for matters considered non-routine. For electing directors, if you don't specify your vote, your proxy will automatically count as for all the nominees. This is important to note if you have an opinion on specific director candidates. On the auditor side, they expect this to be a routine matter, meaning even if a shareholder doesn't give instructions, their broker can vote on their behalf in favor of ratifying the auditors. Let's circle back to that big share issuance to Iola Pharmaceuticals. They're issuing 4,774,637 shares or a warrant for them as part of this asset purchase deal. The reason for seeking shareholder approval is linked to NYSE American rules, specifically when a company issues 20% or more of its outstanding stock for less than the market value. This is a significant part of the deal they need shareholders to sign off on. It's worth noting that Iola Pharmaceuticals was previously known as Accession Inc, and there was an existing agreement between them and OS Therapies. This deal clarifies some royalty and milestone payment terms, which is a common aspect of pharmaceutical partnerships. Remember that massive increase in authorized shares from 50 million to 150 million? They've attached the exact text of this charter amendment. It's a pretty straightforward change to their corporate charter, aiming to give them more flexibility for future corporate actions. Looking at their equity compensation as of the end of 2024, they had 2,870,000 securities to be issued upon exercise of outstanding options, warrants, and rights. The average exercise price for these was $1.86, and they still had 1,130,000 securities available for future grants. With the proposed plan amendment, that available number will jump significantly. In terms of executive pay for 2024, the CEO Paul Rumness received a salary of $480,000 and a bonus of $200,000, along with stock awards valued at over $2.7 million. The Chief Medical and Scientific Officer, Dr. Robert Petit, had a salary of $420,000 and stock awards valued around $120,000. These numbers reflect the company's stage balancing cash compensation with equity incentives. For the non-employed directors, they received some cash retainers and stock awards. For example, Theodore Search, who is also on the compensation committee, received $24,555 in stock awards. It looks like the board is trying to tie director compensation to company performance through these equity grants. The filing also touches on related party transactions. For instance, there were some payroll advances to the CEO, Paul Rumness, which were repaid through bonuses. Also, a significant portion of accounting services were provided by a firm owned by the CFO, Christopher Acido. These are common disclosures in filings to ensure transparency about potential conflicts of interest. The Audit Committee has reviewed the financial statements for the year ending December 31, 2024, with management and their auditors, Malone Bailey, LP. They've recommended that these audited financial statements be included in their annual report. It's a standard sign-off showing confidence in the financial reporting. There's a mention of a late filing for Section 16 reports. This typically means some insiders or large shareholders filed their ownership changes a bit late. Shalom Auerbach, a 10% stockholder, had a late Form 4 filing. Also, several officers and directors, including the CEO Paul Rumness, had late Form 5 filings related to transactions on December 5, 2024. These are usually minor administrative hiccups, but they do show up. Looking ahead to next year's annual meeting, any shareholder wanting to propose a resolution has a deadline of March 2026 to get it included in the company's proxy statement. For director nominations, the deadline is usually around February 2026. They also mention householding, which is in common practice where companies send just one set of mailings like proxy statements to households with multiple shareholders. It's done to save on mailing costs. If you want your own separate copy, you just need to ask. Scroll on the internet, go to http://all.thestocktransfer.com, proxy, click on proxy voter, login and log on using the below control number. DocsChew card itself shows the voting instructions. You can vote online by mail or attend the virtual meeting. The company's board is recommending shareholders vote all director nominees and all the proposals, especially for the big share increase and the issuance proposal, which are critical for their future strategy. Looking at OS Therapies, they're clearly in a growth and strategic maneuvering phase. The proposed massive increase in authorized shares from 50 to 15, 1 and 50 million is the headline, giving them significant financial flexibility for potential acquisitions or fundraising without constant shareholder votes. The issuance of shares to Ayala Pharmaceuticals, while dilutive, is tied to acquiring assets, a crucial step for a biotech company. However, the potential dilutive impact on existing shareholders is something to keep a close eye on. The company's direction seems focused on expansion and strategic growth, possibly through acquisitions or further fundraising, leveraging the increased share authorization. The key risks revolve around execution. Can they effectively deploy these new resources and grow the business in a way that benefits all shareholders? Or will the increased share count lead to significant dilution without proportional value creation? The successful integration of the Ayala assets and the future development of their pipeline will be critical indicators. All in all, OS Therapies is making bold moves to position itself for future growth. Whether these moves pay off will depend on smart execution and a favorable market environment. What do you think of these strategic decisions? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. And be sure to join our Discord community linked in the description to continue the conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.